Alright, we're back and we're restoring this Craftsman 10-inch radial saw. You can see here's what it's supposed to be like when it's done. Black and white picture. I don't have these legs. I might make the legs, or I might just put it on one of these benches I have. I have a spot over there that'd be perfect on this old dresser. And I'll probably paint the dresser gray. But I like old stuff like this because you can keep all your, this was a lathe bench at one time I used it for, but you can keep all your tools for that project or that tool right underneath of it. So here's all my machinist tools. So what we did, we downloaded this owner's manual, and in the owner's manual it shows me every piece, the diagram, how it all went together, because I did have some questions about the upper part up in here because a couple pieces fell out when I was taking it apart. So now I can just reinstall them correctly and make sure everything's fitted okay. So if you're doing a project like this, I recommend doing it with the manual so you get everything back correctly. So right now we finished our base. This has been sandblasted. I primered it, painted it, and it's ready to go. It's completely perfect now. We do not have the top yet. I have not made one of those. I plan on making one of those, and that'll be out of wood. So right now we're getting ready to install the main arm, and I need the bolts all fit for that, so we're going to get started on that right now, and I'm going to sandblast the bolts. Okay, we've set the main support. This is the piece that goes up and down, and we completely sandblasted and wire wheeled a lot of it. Some of these are just too big to fit in the sandblaster. Some I took outside. This one I took outside and sandblasted. I have a portable sandblaster. I did a wire wheel on this, and then I did sandpaper strips. These things, you get a roll of this down at Harbor Freight, and I just wrapped it around it and went back and forth. That way you get the nice lines in here, and it looks really nice. Taped all this off. Still got some tape on here. Painted it. Painted the base. The lower half of this is gray. And this is just a natural stainless steel. So you can see here, I'm using this. I know how this goes in. I know how the centerpiece goes in. But like some of these smaller pieces right here, it's good to remember exactly how they went in, and this diagram will show me that. So now we're going to bolt this down, and then we're going to put on our sideways pieces here. And that's about it for now. Okay, quick note. These bolts that hold this main piece on here, they have a lock washer on the underside. Make sure you use the lock washers anytime you're doing a project like this, because this will all be covered with wood, and it's not going to have a lot of accessibility back underneath here if this thing ever comes loose. So the lock washers will prevent that from happening. So when we were trying to get this piece off, the top piece off, this ended up breaking. And since I have 3 bolts here and one on each side that go in, I'm not worried about the support for this. I am going to put the piece back in here, and later on I might have it welded up, but for now it'll just be set in there. So that's drying right now. I'm painting that up. So next we're going to get started on the piece that goes in here. Okay, we're getting ready to put this rod in right here, and this will raise and lower this piece here. So what I've done is I've greased it up on the end. Just put a bunch of axle grease on there. That way it'll turn smoothly. It showed a washer in here that was not in there originally, so I added a spacer, small thin spacer, And then it does not show lock washers, but I'm adding lock washers on this item just to make sure that it never comes out. So even in the picture it shows a little tab right here. So the top piece, you can tell, has that little mark on it. All you do is start off on one end and put it in. Let me set the camera down. Actually, we got to get the other stuff set up. I need my other pieces. So we'll figure out the other items we need, then we'll install this. Okay, we're back. We've got our other pieces on that we needed. And I'm just looking, actually, 1, 2, that's going to have a 3, 4. Okay, so we have all of our pieces on. All you do, you're gonna, without having everything fall off, okay, so we slid it in here. Now we're going to slowly ease it into here. And now all we got to do is put this piece in. So we're going to take some of this grease off, because I don't want grease all over the place. So we have that in there. And I don't want any grease sticking out of it. And there. Now that ought to raise and lower. Like I said, I added lock washers. I've cleaned, buffed all the nuts and bolts. If you're going to do a restore, guys, do all the nuts and bolts. Don't put a rusty nut in there. You know, half job. That's no good. Okay. And they go in a lot easier that way too. If you don't have sand or rust in it, they just fit right in beautiful. Okay, so now all we have to do is set up the rest and we're all set. So I'll get everything else going and then we'll start on the handle out here. I have it painted right now. It's going to be a two-tone, black tip. Let me see if I have a picture. It'll have a black tip here and gray on the other part. Okay, just to show you what's happening, we've got all of our stuff mounted. I used lock washers in here, mounted the plate in. The handle comes out through here. The handle's being painted right now. So when I lowered this and then raised it back up, a lot of the old gunk and stuff is still inside of here. So I'm wiping this down with a WD-40 and it comes off pretty easy. Where's that at? And then we'll lower it back up and down a few times and all that should dissipate.